Welcome to Able Pathways podcast. I'm Annabelle Ferber, founder of Able Pathways, where we provide executive function coaching for neurodiverse individuals and professional development for educators. Our podcast explores the windy journeys of learning and growth. Each episode, we travel the unique pathways taken by a diverse range of interesting people as they reflect on pivotal moments in their lives that led to unexpected insights and transformation. Through these conversations, we hope to illuminate the infinite pathways for how we grow and learn. Visit our show notes for links, information about our speakers, and resources mentioned on this episode. It's lovely to have you on here, Kesang. Thank you for joining today, all the way from Sikkim. Before we get into the main part of our conversation, I would love to hear what interests you. What are you reading or listening or watching?
All right. Hi, Annabelle. I used to read a lot, but I have a lot of books lined up that I want to read. I would say that currently I'm a football coach and I love football. So most of the time I'm watching football. That's all I do. I wake up, I watch football while having dinner or while having lunch. I watch football. I watch a lot of, the English Premier League in UK, and so I love watching football. So I would say that I there's a certain YouTube page called The Athletic, and as a coach, it helps me because it breaks down the different sides of a game. So kind of boring, but yeah, I watch that most of the time. It gives me analysis of match analysis and a player
Yeah.
analysis. So I love watching that.
Do you have a favorite team?
Oh yeah, definitely. So yeah, I love Manchester United. It's my dream to one day coach Manchester United. Somehow I don't know how that is possible, but I would love to coach Manchester United someday. It's a dream club of mine. I have been following it ever since I think 2006. And I think yeah. If you know Cristiano Ronaldo is a player that I used to love watching.
Mm-hmm.
So Cristiano Ronaldo is what pulled me to Manchester United.
Uh-huh.
Cristiano Ronaldo left Manchester United, but I stayed with Manchester United, and that's where I really feel a deep love for Manchester United. Even though I've never been to Manchester, or I don't know, but yeah.
Do you have time in your life for just for you? Like, what do you do to find some joy or peace or just something for you that's outside of work?
I think that's a deep question for me because I'm so into my work.
That is your passion then. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that it's all about, coaching, managing,
Mhm.
and yeah. But what I love besides, when I get some free time is I love watching comedy shows and like just, enjoying laughing out loud. That's like my guilty pleasure. Whenever
As
I get
comedy.
time, I hook up to a comedy series or like there is this Indian guy who is very famous in India. Is called Kapil Sharma. So I watch each and every show of his. I spend my time smiling and laughing and just yeah. I think that gets me, it gets me back to zero. Like if I'm working and
Mhm.
I'm in a very work mode and I'm kind of full in my head. Once I do
Yeah.
that, I can again restart and I get that energy to go again.
I love that. So I want to ask you about you've mentioned that you're a manager and that you work in football, but how did you get there? What got you interested? Was it as a young child or where did your interest in this start?
But yeah, I think we go back a few years, I would say, decades at least. So I got into football, at least playing, I got into very young age. My dad used to be a local football player and he used to take me, early in the morning when I was very young. He used to take me. and I used to love playing football. I didn't realize until I was around 14, 15 that, I love managing this part of football as well. Um, I think, like I mentioned, somehow I was handed responsibility in terms of, being the captain of a class or leading a class from a very young age, probably due to my physical attributes. And somehow all of these responsibilities fell upon me, and I I somehow transformed that also to football.
Mhm.
And I realized that around 14, 15, like, I wanted to manage and I wanted to coach. I enjoy playing, but I somehow got more pleasure and more satisfaction when I could, manage and coach a team. So yeah, that's when I really got into coaching, and I pursued my career as I went on. In college, actually, I was in my first year of college, and basically I was studying for history honors. And just one of these random days, I just thought about, like, let's do a license course for a football coach. Why not? Like, I was one of the youngest in that batch of football. I was 18, 19, and I said, yeah, let's do it, let's do it. And I had to travel, at least like to the next state. But I was like, I was ready for it because I knew in my heart that this is what I wanted to do and I wanted to pursue it. And I think that day when I went and when I took the step to, do that license for myself, I think that's when I really got into this. Like, yeah, I'm in this.
Yeah, and you haven't looked back. This is yeah.
Yeah, it's been going on since then.
You shared with me before we started recording that, there was like a expectation for you to move through college and get a government job, and yet you
Mm-hmm.
took this different path. What
Mm-hmm.
gave you the courage to be kind of a rebel in that way?
That's an interesting way to put it. Yeah. I think for us, especially in our region, it's very difficult to, go against the wishes of our family or of our parents. And for me, it was also a similar story to most of the people here. My parents really wanted to look out for me in the sense that they wanted me to get into a government job and do something, and they didn't have any particular role or like this post is good for you or this thing might suit you. It's just like get into a government job. So yeah, so there was a turning point for me in the sense that uh, I think the first turning point in terms of football was when I knew that if I as I was in college that if I would get a degree, I'm most probably going to get pushed into government job. And I had known myself pretty well. I feel that, I knew that I could not sit at a desk and
Mhm.
just work like that. I
Yeah.
wanted to do much more in terms of not just helping myself, but also doing something that I love. Um, and of course, it started with kids because the license that I did was for under 12 kids.
Mhm,
So
mhm,
I found a passion there also where like I enjoyed working with kids. So I had to sit down. Uh, I had to do a meeting with my parent basically, which is very rare for us.
mm,
And I had to tell them like, I want to talk about something. And so I had to tell them that, I know that maybe I'm probably disappointing you guys and you have aspirations for me and you want to push me into something that definitely will help me. But I really want to be honest and this is what I want to do. I'm not into this government job thing that you guys are trying to, push me into. And I appreciate that because the thought process behind that is also something that you feel like, will help me out. But it's not something that I want to do. And yeah, I think it was not easy, difficult for them to also accept at that time, especially after pouring in a lot of resources for my college. But yeah, yeah, that was a point where I really had to, I had to put my foot down and had to talk to my parents, like, we have to talk about this, I cannot go any further. I tried, of course, like, of course, we have that pressure, So I tried for them. So I told them, I tried, but I know now it's not my thing. I want to do my coaching and I'm really passionate about that. So yeah, that took place. And still, I think it's the last meeting I have had with my parents. After that, it's just normal talk. And
Did they accept what you shared with them? Did they understand?
yeah, I
Yeah.
think that was important. The reaction was important from my parents, and I didn't know how it would turn out. Of course, very scared. Not that I hadn't done anything for myself. I don't have a history of working or like proving to
Mm.
them that I could do this. So of course, it was very difficult for me, but surprisingly, yes, they were very accepting of that. Especially my dad, because my dad, maybe because he also played football and he wanted me to do something in football. So I could see him smiling somewhere, and yeah. So he was very accepting. And my mom also was very accepting, although not wholeheartedly, but she was like, yeah, okay.
Well, their concern, I think you shared with me, was just, yeah, wanting you to have income and money to support
Mm,
yourself, not particularly attached to some career, but more so just wanting you
mm,
to be okay. I think all
mm,
parents feel that way.
yeah. Maybe like, for example, if I told them, if I wanted to be a doctor, I don't want to be a government official, they would have been more receptive.
Yeah.
But the job of a coach or the role of a football coach, especially in our area here, is not something that, people look up to in terms of like, oh, that can provide for you. That is
Mhm.
something long term that will give you good finances. So that is not something that is there in our region. So that is probably also why, they were not really 100% sure that, okay,
Because
you
it's
can be,
risky. It's
yeah,
risky. Yeah.
yeah.
I think, you've shared why you were willing to take that risk. So, but what happened next once you've made that decision?
So I think it got very interesting after that. Like I had done my licenses, I hadn't told them that I'm going to do my licenses. I had actually just run away from college during one of my winter vacations and did the license. So yeah, they didn't know about it. And after that, I think it got a little bit stable. It got a little bit difficult because I think COVID-19 also hit around the time. And, I, when I was supposed to go into coaching and when I was supposed to go into more of like, getting myself used to coaching, I think that was the time again where we had to stop
Mm,
everything. There was no contact. So it got a little
mhm.
difficult. But then, right after COVID, I got an opportunity from Khelum Foundation, where I'm currently at. So yeah, I was just at home. I was just playing, esports and games on my phone, and we had a team for esports as well. Surprisingly, I was managing that team as well.
It's in
And
your
then
blood.
I got a call from Rohan, who's also the director of Khelum. So he was starting something with Khelum, and I got a call from him. And yeah, I think after that, I didn't have to look back. I'm always going forward in terms of coaching and learning new things.
That's so cool. So, what does your job entail now? What are you focused on?
Yeah, I think that's quite the description. Job description has gone off the charts, and I think it's a good sign that I'm growing and Khelum is also giving me an opportunity to grow. So yeah, I started off coaching, and we had a project where we started coaching, and for the last 4 years, I'm coaching small kids, grades like ages from 6 to 12. So I'm coaching, and then I keep getting the opportunities to develop myself. I've been coaching, and now I've been managing. So I think that's a change in my role as well, where I was in the session and on the field, and I'm leading something with the kids. Now I'm part of a team that is managing the coaches that are leading the on-field sessions. So
Mm,
in a way, I'm mentoring some of the coaches that trying are young and up and coming, and they're learning. And my role now is also to coach sometimes, but most of the time, my role is also to, share my experiences and my knowledge with our colleagues as well. So yeah,
mhm.
it's gone off the charts. Like I always thought it was easier to do this part, But now I know that it is definitely not easy to do this mentoring
The
and help.
uh, like, what have you experienced as, like, some differences between your coaching kids versus your
Mm,
managing coaches? What are some of the differences in, like, what's fun about that and what's difficult about that?
mm. Like there are a lot of similarities, I would say. Uh, because I think the love that I can give to the kids while I'm coaching is the kind of love that I want to give to the coaches. I truly believe that, until somebody feels the love that is genuine and the connection that is there between two individuals, it's very difficult to, also connect on the pitch or
Mhm,
on the work, on the job. First of all, that's very similar. In terms of differences, yeah, I mean, it's totally different. Kids are more joyful. They are more in terms of like they just listen and they just want to do stuff. Whatever we share, even if like let's say we make a mistake, they'll be like, okay, no problem, let's do this. In terms of managing, it's a little bit difficult in the sense that yeah, sometimes we make mistakes, and that's for everybody. And that is where I feel like, it's difficult to manage situations that might not be pleasant. So with kids, it's much easier to manage those kind of situations. With adults, it's much more difficult. And in terms of also, I think it's a two different things in terms of coaching and managing,
mhm,
where we are trying to share knowledge, our knowledge, and give them the best experience for the students and to the coaches as well. That's the same. But sometimes I think as we develop and we grow into adults, our philosophies change and our thought processes change, and there are situations where not everybody agrees to you. So
mm,
not everybody agrees to what you say,
mhm.
or might feel like, okay, this is different, and that gives us perspective in terms of
Yeah.
we should maybe change. Maybe that there is another way to do this. With students, that's very less. They follow the norm. So I think that's one major thing difference. Like, we get to learn a lot from students, but we get to learn almost the double of it from adults because they are also responding like, I don't think this is right.
Is that partly because adults feel more empowered to challenge, whereas kids feel less comfortable or able to challenge adults? Is
Mm.
that part of it? Or is that where I just was clarifying, like, is that what you mean?
Yeah, I think that has got something to do with this also in terms of like uh kids might want to question,
Mhm,
but not everybody has the courage to question. As I think all of us face when we are young is when we are young, our lives are almost controlled by the adults that we have in our lives.
mhm.
We don't really have control of our life unless we reach a certain age.
Yeah.
So I think kids always have that fear of, like, what if I'm wrong, or what if I'm not,
Mhm.
accepted. And adults know that, that when we create a safe space for adults, they can express them. And that
Mhm.
that is also, I think, one of the things that we want to discover and promote more is like where kids feel safe to express themselves. Like, I don't like that, or I don't think this is the right way to do this. This drill. Mm,
Yeah.
I think if we do this other way, it's really really interesting and fun.
Yeah.
So that's one of our also aims to promote that environment where kids can develop into those kind of critical thinkers.
Then you'll have more problems to solve.
I think it, like I said, it develops of us more because when we are thinking about just one way to solve a problem, yeah, I think
Mhm.
that's not the way to go for us as well. There's always multiple ways to
Yeah.
solve one problem.
And I think there's some evidence that when you're younger and you don't know all the rules yet,
Mm,
you can often be more creative in
mm,
thinking outside the rules when you don't know they exist. So sometimes kids can have much more creative ideas and novel ideas that offer
mhm,
really fresh new perspectives in a way that adults can sometimes just end up like learning the rules and then have trouble
Mm,
thinking outside of them.
yeah.
I mean, there's benefits to those things, but Albert Einstein is a scientist from the 20th century who is known for being very childish, and he would often talk about like trying to retain that creative childlike wonder in himself, and then he
Mm,
fled Europe and came to America and was able to continue with that. But I work with
yeah.
adults and with children. I notice like sometimes adults are harder to work with because it's harder for them to
Mm.
change their mind, like locked in, whereas kids are like, I've only been here for a short time. Like, I don't know. Maybe. Maybe marshmallows do fall from the sky. I don't know.
And I think that's the
Yeah.
beauty of, like being a child, and when we communicate with a child, I think that's the beauty of it's their unknown, or they're unaware of,
Yeah.
they don't care about what's happening. And that's beautiful because we get to know so many perspectives and see so many ideas that we might not think it's possible. We talk about, sometimes in our organization we talk about tunnel vision, like when do you need tunnel vision and when do we not need tunnel vision?
Mm.
Sometimes, for example, there are some things that we absolutely want to make sure that it happens. And then there are things where it has to be open to anything. Like the
Mm.
interpretation could be anything. And yeah, I think that's very interesting for us in terms of, as adults, we are channelized into the rules of the society, or how they think, like for us locally here, it's also a lot to do with what does the society think about this? And then who makes that rule is something that we don't know.
Well, I was thinking that, sports or soccer, football, any of them really, you have these rigid rules. You have to have them and you have to learn them, memorize them, and you have to be strategic about the way that you practice. You have to practice being aware of the rules, like how you tackle someone or oh wait, that's no tackling in soccer from football, so sorry.
There is technique. There's
Okay.
technique.
Okay. Um, but there's like all these strict rules, but then inside of it, it's
Mm,
like every game is going to be different and you have to be able to think on your feet and like make
mm,
decisions really quickly. So it's both like structured uh, and a lot of improvisation going on. I
mm,
just find that so fascinating that it's a combination of both of those of like just
mm.
chaos, like creative chaos, like see how it goes, but also like within like this like set of rules that everyone agrees to.
Rules.
Otherwise, it's just people wrestling, right? Or people just like running around. So
And I
yeah,
love that tension. Sorry, you're saying.
no, I was just saying it's a fascinating tension for someone to live in the space of strict rules and creativity and like thinking about new ways to get a ball from
Mm.
one side to another side or from one person to another person or
And I love that. I love that. I love that so much. We call it organized chaos sometimes, where
yeah.
like with the framework,
Yeah.
but we make it very chaotic in the middle, where the kids have to find solutions, on their feet. Like the game of football is very interesting that way. Like you mentioned,
Mhm.
we cannot predict what happens. There is a saying that is very famous locally, that's called, in Nepali, it is said that football ko akha hunde na, which means the football does not have eyes, so it can go anywhere.
Yeah.
And it can so we cannot predict what happens next. Like
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
ball could from one place to another place, and the possibilities are endless. So we call it organized chaos sometimes with the kids, where we put them in situations like it's so chaotic, and for somebody watching from outside, we're like, what are they doing?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
but within us, we'll be like, okay, like we are looking for kids who can find solutions during that chaos.
Yeah.
And how can we promote that more in terms of we create situations where sometimes like, okay, it's very chaotic, but you'll have to
Yeah.
find a way out of that.
Yeah. It feels like from my work in executive functioning, excellent executive functioning practice because most
Uh,
people think about executive functioning happening in an academic setting or a work setting, but it's
Mm-mm.
every aspect of your life. Whenever you are trying to consciously do something, you need these skills. And I think it's so cool to see that happening in sport. The music that I grew up that my dad taught me and taught me how to play, that's where my love of music came from, is a type of music called jazz, and jazz has rules. There are
Mm.
strict rules, but part of what makes jazz really interesting is that you also improvise with it. You don't have it written out, but you
Yeah,
know that there are some rules to it. So it's jazz is like football in the way that you described
football.
it. It's organized chaos.
It's so cool. I don't know, like maybe that is where the music really takes off for jazz also. Like I don't have a clear understanding of jazz music, but I love that whenever any jazz music pops up, I'm like, yeah, I'm up for
You
it.
know it when you hear it. Yeah.
There was a when I was in college, I don't know, it's a restaurant maybe, but like it's called a Piano Man. So they only play jazz music there. Like all the bands are only jazz music bands. So I used to just go, and sometimes like there used to be stalls outside the restaurant where you could hear the music. So I
Yeah.
don't necessarily have to go inside to, watch them. I could just be outside sipping my tea and just listening
Yeah.
to the music. I used to love that when I was in college, so that gives me a real sense of it's
Yeah.
a totally different feeling, like listening to blues or listening to pop music. It's a totally different feeling. And
Totally
yeah, I
different.
sense of, like the brain is wiring in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Because
feeling.
they make the rules up as but you have to have rules, but you're sort of making them.
Uh,
You say at some point in the music, you say, okay, here's the pattern. It's a pattern, not rules, but those are very
mm,
similar. But like, here's the pattern. And now in between the pattern, you can go wild, but then you come back
yes.
to the pattern and then go wild and come back. And so, yeah, it's cool.
It's so beautiful, so cool.
Yeah. And it was born out of slavery. That's
Oh.
where it was invented
Mm, 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 mm.
as space where people were completely controlled.
Controlled.
And they created music that is so free. That's about freedom. It's
Um,
about creativity. It's about bending all those rules. So it's
wow.
kind of reflected in the music itself. Yeah.
Wow.
I think I want to actually shift more into like where you are now, and do you have a sense of where you want to go, or what you want to learn next, or are there other roles that you're striving towards?
I think I'm at a crossroads right now in terms of, where should I go?
Mm.
And in a good sense, because I have options when I think about it, like maybe I could do this, maybe I could do that. And one thing is for sure, I think coaching is there. Like coaching is us there and will always be there. But maybe as we go, as we grow up, we also find ourselves more. And I feel like I've found myself a little bit more, which I didn't know that I could, but I've maybe found myself a little bit more. And I'm thinking, am I also good at managing? Do I really love managing? If it's managing a group of people, or if it's managing, a different kind of a project, or if it's just managing something. And I think I contemplated on that a lot, and I still don't have a clear answer right now. I'm just getting into this dilemma of managing and coaching. I love coaching, but I'm finding this new passion of managing as well, where it's not easy, it's stressful, but I'm loving it. Like, it's like it's something new for me, and managing people, and just making sure how can we make things work between a group of people. And I love it when it comes off. It's
Yeah.
almost like managing a team with making the tactics, like
Mm.
let's make this pass from here to this, and let's try to score this goal. So
Yeah.
I always find it like that, where I manage a group of people and I can help them achieve a certain goal, and I feel that sense of success. Like, wow. I think this team really pulled it off and we could do this together. Yeah, I think in terms of that, um, my ultimate goal has always been Manchester United. I
Yeah.
really make that happen. But yeah, this slight dilemma that is there right now that I don't know if I really love organizing and managing as well.
Is there any way to do both? Or do you really have to lean into one more?
I think so we could do both. And it is a skill that will actually help me with what I want to do as well. Because in football, it's not just a head coach. Sometimes you're a manager, and manager means you're just not just managing the team, you're managing the club and you're
And the
managing people.
coaches. Uh,
Yeah, the coaches, the group of coaches, the physiotherapists. You're managing the whole sector. So in a way, it could relate, like you said, and work out what I really want to do. My goal and aim is yes, really, really big. It's almost impossible, but I believe that if it's done well and I could really pace
you could
myself,
do it. Mhm.
I could do it. So yeah. And the good thing about coaching is there's no age limit as such. So nobody's retiring at 60. So as long as I keep myself fit and healthy, I'm sure we could go on for a while.
That is a cool thing. Yeah, some jobs you can age out of, but that's yeah. It's because it's more probably related to teaching than anything
Mm,
else,
mm,
or like executive leadership type of roles, but I think a good leader is also a good teacher or a good coach, so
yeah, yeah.
that those are really connected.
Mm.
Do you know what the steps are to get you to Manchester?
That is one of the challenges, I think. So I believe that first is definitely the coaching badges that I have to do,
Mm.
licenses that I have to do. But there is some gray area in terms of me being in the Asian subcontinent and the European demands for the badges. So what I know is that it's fairly different standard and the standards and like criterias are very different. So as of now, I have not shared this with anybody. So maybe this is the first time. What I have a plan is I would like to do my Asian Confederation badges. Again, it's a dream. I would like to do my badges for Asian Confederation, which hopefully takes me to Japan one day because it works in Japan. And Japan is where I feel I could get exposure to a lot of this foreign players and foreign managers. I could learn a lot in Japan,
Mhm.
and that's where I believe the next step of my coaching badges can happen in Europe. Because
Mhm.
even if I take a European license right now, I don't think I'd be ready. I think the steps to that would be from
Japan to Europe.
yeah. So that is what I have thought.
Well, you've heard it here, folks. I
That's of course I have not said it to anybody till now, but yeah.
what is there's a saying and I forget who it is, but it's someone in sports who says you miss 100% of the shots you don't
Shots
take.
you don't take. Yeah. I don't know who said it, but yeah, I remember that quote.
Because I think, the way that you just sort of spoke about like, oh, it's this big dream. And I feel that too when I think about like some of the things I want to accomplish. And then when I hear other, I have that sort of feeling for myself of like, is that too big? Is that too much? But then when I hear someone else, I think like, is it big enough? Like maybe it should be bigger even because if you don't shoot for that, then you move
Mm,
nowhere. So like dreams should be big. Dreams should be out of reach because that's what we have to
mm,
stretch. That's how we grow and stretch towards it.
yeah. Yeah.
So I totally support your dream and I do think you can pull it off. That would be I mean if that who knows too like as we grow and learn our dreams can also change and that's
Mm,
okay too as we figure
yeah.
stuff out.
Yeah.
So, I want to ask you what you love about coaching, but also what you love about managing. But starting with coaching, what does that tap in for you? Like, why does that bring you so much joy?
Yeah. Coaching, as I mentioned previously also, I think I'm fascinated by the goal of football is score a goal and win a match. So coaching for me initially started off, um, like how different strategies could attain that goal, but you don't have to follow the same success that somebody, like a success map that somebody has made. Like it happens a lot in global football also, like the best manager comes in, sets a blueprint and everybody follows that. But the beautiful part that I like is, can I create my own blueprint that can help achieve that goal? And I think that is the most intriguing part about coaching. And that's why I'm always looking up this different tactics is, can I combine some of them into a very unique blueprint that nobody has done or tried and
Mm,
can maybe help achieve success to a certain group. And then coaching, I think it would be more like a part two of why I like coaching and love coaching is, I think when I got to work with Khelum, I had this wonderful opportunity to work with kids aged 6 to 12. And then it gave me the joy of working with kids, which
mhm,
I did not know I had.
mhm,
It's just like, um, when the first batch of students that we coached, after a year, they played some matches, competitive matches. I almost teared up. And I'm not a very emotional person. I hardly drop a tear. And I felt myself getting soft. And I thought about, why am I getting soft? And I think it's the beautiful feeling of seeing somebody that you poured your love into and they poured their love into us. And, we grew together and then they are performing at a certain stage. And to see that development, I think that changed for me again. That's like a second phase of my coaching where I wanted to really help these kids develop and not just into football. Not all of them became like good footballers, but what
right.
we did was like, they were really awesome people. They used to come up and we used to have really wonderful chat. We used to, just talk about what they did. And even if they were not really like, you know, in the football teams or didn't get selected in certain teams, they would always have knowledge about football and they would come and test us or we would test them. And I think that a different kind of joy that I found that I did not know that I would like. But I think that coaching is what I really, really love. And this is like my second phase of coaching
Mm,
where I found the love for the game even more because of the kids.
I see. I felt the same way landing in the classroom the way that I did. I mean, I always loved kids, but I didn't know that
Yeah.
feeling of, like, seeing someone that you've poured that love,
Mm.
towards, and then seeing them, like, accept themselves or have some measure of success or build, success and shows up in lots of different ways. I'm not feeling pride because of something I did, I'm feeling pride because
Mm.
they did
There.
something, and that's, like, just beautiful and yeah, makes it addictive, right? You wanna just, like
Yeah.
you're like, "Oh, okay, there's the drug in this profession that just keeps you coming back for more." Like, more wins, more kids loving themselves more.
And that's very rare for us to find that, um, like you said, the drug for us. I think it's very rare. I think that with so many things we do in our lives, but like I still don't know why I was getting soft and my eyes were heavy and I really reflected myself. I had to pull myself a little bit, I had to get back a little bit from the pitch area and I had to be like, okay, why am I being soft? Like, what is this feeling? I was I was alien to it, that feeling, I'd never felt that before.
Yeah,
And I think, but yeah, that really changed me and I could I could know that I want more of that.
yeah, yeah. Well, and when you said too, like, you love managing, but you also love coaching, I immediately was thinking of those, like, connections that you make and that just really beautiful space of the relationship between a coach and a student or, um and, like, for me, that's why I actually call myself a coach, an executive function coach.
Oh.
I use the
Oh.
language of that, because it is more mentorship than like,
Mm,
here's a bunch of information and memorize it, because that's not
mm.
the kind of teaching that I do,
Teaching.
or that works for the kids, the people I work for. Yeah, so I'm also a coach, different kind of coach. So, um, what do you love in the management roles that you're moving into now?
Managing is, I think, a little different to coaching. I think it's similar to like a jigsaw puzzle because in managing, I think it's a lot to do with understanding people. And one thing that I've always also thought about being able to get better at and always keep getting better at is understanding people and just being able to relate to people, you know? So it's like a puzzle for me where if I have a different group of people who are different in personality, who are different in their approach, but we have the same goal as a group. And in the sense that, when I'm managing that group, we want to reach to point A. But because they are different people, they have different approaches and they have different personalities. And to bring that all together into a delicious, like, let's
Mhm.
say a gravy type situation,
Mm.
I love those different parts that, I have to work hard to make that happen. And when that happens, I think, yeah, I feel very, very happy because like they are adjusting to different people. But it would be so easy if we just had like same mentality of people like thinking about the same things because they would agree on the same things and they would disagree on the same things. It would be easier, I would say, maybe to function because that, and also I find it boring. There's no challenge to it.
Yeah.
But because you said, and we spoke about this in the beginning, every mind is different and every mind is beautiful in its own way.
Mm.
So when we have to work situations and, manage those situations where everyone could come together and everyone could understand that, okay, we have to reach here and somebody might have to compromise, somebody might have to pull up themselves, or somebody might have to give somebody, a helping hand. I
Mhm.
think that is the beautiful part of me where, okay, we've managed to connect as one somehow, even though we are different people. And
Yeah.
that's where I find the beauty in this role of managing.
That sounds like such a beautiful definition of management. That should be in the dictionary. I love that. And I think too about if everyone's just sort of going in the same direction, thinking the same, there's no friction, right? And so that sounds on paper like that's a good thing. No friction. Doesn't that mean things happen in a better way? But I don't know about you, but I I didn't really like real deep learning where I was transformed by it and really got to grow, always came out of friction. It always
Mm,
came out of someone challenging a thought or
challenge.
challenging an idea. That's how we grow. And if we think about it like on a biological level, if you want to strengthen a muscle, you have to
Mm.
give it tension. And and it's like the tension of the extra weight that like tears the muscle a little bit that lets it grow and get stronger and
Mm.
through practice. So I'm not sure that we actually can grow if
Mm.
everyone's thinking the same way or if everything's moving without friction or challenge
Like,
or
and we're not really testing ourselves in that sense also. Like we don't know, if everything is going smooth. Sometimes I think like if everything is going smooth, then something is wrong. I always think
Exactly.
I step.
Exactly. I've
It's
had many
almost like when
parents say, like,
you
if it's too quiet in the house, something bad is happening, right? Because the kids should be making noise.
I was about to say the same thing. Like when it's a little too silent, I become cautious. Like, okay,
What
something
are
must
they up
not be
to?
right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, especially with children, but adults too, right? Being quiet or going along with things is not a sign that everything's going well
Mm.
necessarily. It can be, but not always.
Not always. No.
You mentioned that you watch football. So is that the study? Is like observing games and then analyzing them? Is that part of how you grow? I imagine It's similar to like a chess player where you can watch other games and then
Mm.
learn from them. Is that how you learn?
Okay. Yeah. I think I'm a visual learner more than, like people are different kind of learners. I I believe I'm more of a visual learner, and I watch a lot of these games.
Mm.
So even when, like, let's like you said, when I'm watching a match, if like the match is happening at point A, sometimes I'm watching point B and point C, what's happening in point B and point C. That gives me a better idea on the structure of what's happening. Because I think the beautiful part of football is there's like 11 people playing it, but only one or two are active. According to what people see, is only one or two are active who are near the ball.
Oh,
But the beautiful part is actually all 11 are active at the same time. They're
mhm.
functioning together. It's just that our focus most of the time goes into those people who are at maybe with the ball at their feet. But it's very important for the other people to make themselves useful in however they can help that person with the ball, because those are important. Like, it's like almost like a different part of a car moving together. Like, we
Mhm.
cannot just focus on one part of the car. The whole engine, the tires, the
It
brakes,
makes
everything has to
sense.
work together. So that's what I like to focus on sometimes. And like the videos that I watch, they also break down how things happen. Like sometimes it might look like somebody's just running wildly, but why is that person running wildly? What is the
Mhm.
benefit of that person? Like sometimes these players, they are so selfless that they run for their teammates, and that is the beautiful part that I find very intriguing. Like, how can others help you without actually helping you?
Yeah.
And that is what I really want to like. I love watching those videos. But yeah, I think mostly my learning is visual,
Mhm.
and I like to dissect how things happen. So even a live match, sometimes I'll pause it because we have that option to pause in our
Yeah.
devices. I'll
Yeah.
pause the live match and just look at the positions of where everybody is.
I was gonna say I saw a cool clip the other day of it was American football, but it's sports in general. I don't understand
Yeah,
American football either, but I mean I don't understand the rules is what I'm saying. I don't know what the rules are, but
same here.
there was this guy on one team because I could tell he was wearing a white shirt and the other guys were wearing blue or black shirts, whatever. But he was like running and he was like running like this, like a ball was about to be caught by, you know? And so he had these
Mm,
two other guys, players, I get on the opposing team that were like trying to get close to him as I'm assuming to intercept the ball or tackle him when he gets it.
mm.
Sorry, I don't know what the rules are, if any of
No,
that,
that's true. That's true.
but I feel like something is happening there. And he's doing that. But then off to the side, was actually where the ball was being passed to. And this guy was just pretending like he was there to catch it. And it was just like, I was just thinking about like the million decisions and how close that team was that they
Mm,
had created this. They'd obviously thought about this idea before. Um,
yeah.
and it was a trick kind of thing, but it was like really smart trick because I was like looking because he's like gonna catch something, and that's makes sense. The ball where it goes is how the points are measured, and that's how you know who's winning
Mm.
and whatnot. So I get why our attention goes there, but once from this clip. I saw that the other guy was just like subtly running down the field to actually get the ball. And then he caught it and he ran and he made the the touchdown. He made
That's done.
the big
Yeah.
point that he was looking to make. Yeah, and I was think when I watched that the other day, I just thought about like the million decisions that would have gone into making that happen, and that everyone had to sort of work like, and I don't know how many players there are on that thing, but 11 or more probably. Like all of those different human beings had to make a decision to work like they were one body.
Yeah.
How cool is that? Because they're obvious separate all over the playing field, but they have to be, like, united
Mm.
in some way.
Everything has to work for them. Like, all of them have to be on it. Like,
You couldn't just have, like, one good player. If the rest of them aren't able to to work together, then it won't work.
yeah. Like
Like
everybody has to be in on it, and then even like you mentioned, even the guy subtly running away has to make it look like he doesn't actually want the ball.
right.
I think
I'm
I'm
just
not there.
running.
Yeah, I'm just going off there. Just maybe I'm gonna chill there. So I think that's the beautiful part of just the whole like different people coming together again. I
Mhm.
think that's really beautiful, and like you said, yeah, when it comes off, it really really intrigues our mind.
Yeah. And you just think like, "Oh my gosh, they would have had to practice something like that a million times to
Mm,
get that
yeah,
to work, and then find the right moment in a game to pull it off."
get it off.
So
And
cool.
when it comes up, it's so cool.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder if that feeling is similar to the feeling when a kid, like, that you've been coaching or helping, like, is successful. It's a similar just such a win. If you were to go back to your younger self a little bit and give yourself advice about your future, what advice would you give yourself?
Oh wow. Yeah, I mean, but I think one advice that I would definitely give my younger self would be, I think, keep believing in yourself. I think that's very simple, very basic, but uh, I think if I had more belief, for example, I wouldn't have gone into college,
Mm,
and I wouldn't definitely have been like, I would have been very sure that, okay, I know I could do this. But I'm
mhm.
sure there was a doubt in me where I also thought that maybe I want to also support my parents, but also like maybe I might not be able to pull it off. So I think that's one that I would say that, I knew a long time ago that I wanted to do something like this. And when I was younger, I was very sure that, football is something that I want to do. And interestingly, I had an opportunity to also go to a football club here at India, and I had I was offered the chance to go and join an academy. But at that time, I thought that, again, like I didn't have that belief in myself. So I would say maybe, yeah, have more faith in yourself, and I'm sure that things will work out.
That's
Sorry, very
beautiful.
basic, but yeah.
No, it's not, though. Do you know where that confidence or belief in yourself, like, when that started to where that started for you, or were you influenced by someone else, or did that come from within?
Confidence, I think, is something that I have had in myself. I think it's the way I grew up and I was brought up. Uh, I My parents were mostly away because of work, and they had to make sure that the house is running. So I grew up with my grandmother, and she used to look after me. And she basically, of course, like how grandparents are, they basically, they poured their love, and she let me go free, and she didn't really keep me, chained up. She let me go free, and that's where I could really explore myself. Even at a younger age, I was free to go around. So I think the confidence comes from that self of mine, where I was playing sports with like double my age kids. I was venturing into wild journeys with seniors from like they're very old seniors. I hardly have friends who are my age, because I've always grown up in that way where the
Oh,
whole
yeah.
friend circle was like, they're like 5, 10 years elder to me. And I think that confidence in my belief also come from that, that okay, I could do it. I think that's one of a major step when you are young, that, how can you, like we spoke about before, also being accepted in a group. So I believe that that experience really helped me, uh, because I was not going around with my age or my circle. I was going around with much senior elder kids, and I was getting exposure to so many things that were out of my comfort zone, but definitely I think helped me grow. So I had that belief in my confidence, I think, from a younger age, and the captaincy role definitely helped me. It's
I was
one
gonna
major.
say when you said, like, 13, 14, you were, right, also elevated
Yeah.
to manage other people and
Mm.
gain that experience. Yeah.
experience. So I think that
Yeah.
if I have to say, I think there was a period of my life where for around 6, 7 years continuously I was given the position of the class captain, the monitor who's looking after the class and has to make sure the class is managed. I think it also transpired into bigger roles in terms of managing, where I also had to manage like the school captain, for example, it's called here, where I'm leading the school and I'm responsible for most of the activities and the disciplinary activities that's happening around. And so I think that helped a lot in terms of gaining confidence also, because I really had to be open. I really had to go out of my way to meet people, talk to people, and understand them. And just basically I had to be an extrovert even if I was not an extrovert. I could That role demanded extrovert, and it demanded me to go out, talk to people, and
Yeah.
we had to report to our principals and the heads, the teachers who are leading. So
Hmm.
I think that helped a lot as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's been so delightful to chat with you. I so appreciate you coming on this podcast, not even knowing who I was at all. Before I let you go, you've mentioned Khelum Foundation. Are there other organizations or people or anything that you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I feel like there are a lot of people doing good work, and especially in Sikkim, it's a small community, but definitely there's a lot of good work being put in. I have many in mind right now, but I think there is this charter school that's going around. I think the government schools are really in need of support. The kids are very wonderful there, and they really want to learn, and they really want to do something that is meaningful, not just for themselves or the family, but also for the society. I think the charter school is one that is really, really helping them develop into these wonderful human beings that can make positive changes in the world. I feel like, when I initially got to know about them, I was I was not very much aware, but after I'm getting to know a little bit more about what they do, I really feel like, that's something that is really, really close to my heart. And I feel like, these kids especially deserve this kind of platform. A government school is looked down upon in our region as to not having the best of facilities and
Mm.
education. And I think the charter school Katalytic Foundation is really doing an awesome job in terms of making sure that these kind of schools are coming up, and these kids are getting the best possible exposure that they could get.
What's the name of the charter school?
It's it's I think it's Chief Minister's Charter School, CMCS, and it's run by a few multiple organizations. But basically, and we got a chance to collaborate with them in terms of sports, which
Mhm.
was very, very, it was something that's very deep within us, and we really appreciate that. It's led by, I think, a Katalytic Foundation,
Okay.
and they, along with Progressive Learning Foundation, are running these programs. So hopefully, yeah, we get to do a lot of these because it's really, really wonderful, and it's really it's really heartwarming that these experiences that we have with them, especially
Mhm.
the kids. This is it's like we cannot we cannot get that feeling anywhere else. It's like the soft moment for me.
Are you sure you wanna go to Manchester, UK? This sounds way better.
I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind at all.
You can do both. Why not both, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
that would be the best situation.
what would it look like to combine those and, like, make your own path, build your own pathway, even if it's
Exactly.
not one that you've seen before, if it connects in with all your passions and interests and needs, right? We all need to get
Mm.
paid and we all need to, survive in the world, but if you could sort of, like, have all of those come together, then you're working with this joy and you're working with
Mm.
this passion.
And it gives a purpose to our life. Sometimes, sometimes we question it. I think for sure.
Yeah.
what's my purpose? Like I've ended up questioning myself in terms of like, what's my purpose here and what is the use of all these resources that I'm using up as one individual.
Mm.
And yeah, I think sometimes it is there, but I think these are the moments that let me know that okay, this is your purpose. And this is why you are here. And as long as we are here, we should try and make this world a better place. As you know, it's not all good everywhere. We have situations, but I think we can all do our part in making sure that, like, for example, if I'm here as in sports, somebody else is doing something else in education, somebody is doing something else in accommodation or anything like that. So I think, yeah,
Mhm.
we have our purpose to do, and finding our purpose, I think, and knowing it well, I think really helps us move with clarity. I think, thank you so much again. I've really enjoyed it.
It's been so fun to chat with you. And I do think sports is learning, and you're learning so many important life skills in that space.
Mhm.
Because I just heard you mention, sort of coaching versus education. I just think sports education is so necessary to developing children's brains, which helps them with academics, developing their
Mm,
problem solving skills, their critical thinking, their creativity, but then all the social skills and the communication
mm.
skills. And so, like, you start to look at it and you're like, this is very important. So, I'm glad that you're doing it and you're fantastic. And thank you for coming on today.
Thank you so much, Annabelle.
If you've enjoyed today's discussion, I invite you to share this episode and subscribe to Able Pathways podcast on your favorite platform. Your support helps us to share these meaningful conversations with more people. Have thoughts about this episode or suggestions for future guests? We would love to hear from you. Leave us a comment or email us at hello@ablepathways.com. Until next time, I'm Annabelle, reminding you that there are infinite pathways to growth. May you travel yours with curiosity and courage.